And welcome back. We always have some levity when it comes to sitting through even the most horrific of trials. And I'm here with Judge Ashley Willcott. Can you tell me what is going on?
I cannot. So we've all been listening, right? And you can hear him going on and on about the details of his job, which I think is a very strenuous job, and he can tell you everything he can do about it and when he can call in and when he can't. I'm only going to assume, but I don't know for sure, that this is going to relate somehow to the defendant's work and how much he worked and how often he worked and how hard he worked, and maybe to a defense to say, I was out working. I was not at home to take care of the baby. The mother of the baby was supposed to be doing that.
Yeah, I assume that's what he's talking about. I mean, I've learned a lot about chicken and moving chicken and things like that, but I'm still kind of lost about, how the jury is even able to understand. And by the way, even if they're coming to that, one would think that at some point the defense would focus on why on earth this guy is on the stand. And they haven't, and for the life of me, I don't understand it.
I don't either. And here's the thing I like about trial skills. There's specific trial skills that you can be taught and you can learn to do a trial. So one of the things that a trial program teaches is to use head notes with your witnesses, right? So that you say, now let's talk about, and you can set the stage for all the questions, and then the jury and the judge can follow along exactly the relevance. Right. I've been sitting here next to you going, relevance, relevance, because at this point I don't really see the relevance in all this testimony, but I guess it remains to be seen.
Yeah, and it is interesting because, when we talked before, we talked about all the various potential defenses, and one of the things we spoke about was that I had said, I think one of the, I'm not saying a good argument, but one of the potential arguments was that he just wasn't around, that he assumed, and by the way, we can now pull in the Mennonite aspect of it, he assumed because of his religious background and because of the way he was raised, and he was working all day, that she was the one that was supposed to be taking care of the children, and he was the one that was supposed to be providing. But it seems, again, that we're putting it together, but they're not. Right. And we've been doing this a long time, and the jurors haven't been. And so I find it a bit confusing, certainly for the jury.
I do too, but you know as well as I do, as many trials as you follow here on Law and Crime, a lot of times what you get is defense attorneys or attorneys, even prosecutors, throwing everything at the wall and seeing what sticks. And so the problem is, it seems to be an approach of that. Let's throw everything at the wall, let's see what sticks, and then we see what we can use, as opposed to a very well thought out, deliberate, this is our story, this is how we're going to present it as the best defense.
And I think that's an excellent point. I think one of the things we were talking about before was that, a lot of times a defense attorney doesn't know what the prosecution is going to be throwing their way. And so that's why they're really careful about how they begin their case. This case is a little different. They kind of knew everything that was coming their way, and one would think that the best strategy, and again, who knows what the jury is going to decide, but sometimes the best strategy is to be forthright with the jury and say, we have a bunch of defenses, we're going to go with them and kind of explain to you how they weave together to make what I think could have been a viable defense. And again, who knows what the jury's going to decide.
Right, and I think also the defense has the responsibility for looking at the behavior of the defendant, the behavior of the jurors. How are they reacting to then gauge that? So it's like they left it wide open, Julie, to gauge all of that, which is an interesting approach.
Yeah, and maybe the jury will figure it out. So my time is up. I think Ashley Willcott is going to be back with Aaron Keller for the Daily Wrap-Up. I want to thank you for being here, and we'll be back in a few minutes here at Law&Crime.